This is What School Didn't Teach Me, a podcast meant to build community on all the things school doesn't prepare you for. Hi, I'm your host, Jasmine Kiamber, and class is in session. Hey, classmates, it's your host, Jasmine Kiamber, and welcome to another episode of What School Didn't Teach Me. Thank you so much for tuning into the classroom. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so excited to continue to learn about the school of life with y'all. Y'all don't know, but as much as we talk, I love when y'all talk back to me. Like, I actually learn new things from y'all, and I learn new things about y'all, and that's just so exciting to know, like, who my classmates are, what they like to do, what their favorite hobbies are, what they like to read, what kind of music they like to listen to. Like, I just love being able to communicate back and forth with y'all. So, like, please don't stop. You feel me? If you are new to the classroom, you've never listened to What School Didn't Teach Me before, or maybe this is your first or second episode, you're still trying to figure out if you like us for real or not. Hi, welcome. I'm Jasmine Kiamber. I started What School Didn't Teach Me to build community and let y'all know, like, we are not doing this life thing alone, right? That's why we call it that's why we call ourselves classmates, because we're dealing with the school of life, right? In this life, there are going to be so many things that you just did not learn how to deal with in school. There's so many things that school did not teach me, right? School didn't necessarily teach me how to deal with my money. School didn't teach me how to deal with my friends. School didn't teach me how to take care of my mental health, right? Those are things that I had to learn in the school of life, right? Those are things I had to learn outside of K through 12. And so I realized at a certain point, we all were going through, me and the people around me, we all were going through kind of the same things, but nobody was talking about it. And because nobody was talking about it, we kind of didn't realize that we were all going through the same thing. And my mentality is, if we're all going through something, why don't we talk about it? Why don't we move through, grow through, learn about this thing together? And what better thing to learn about and grow together through than life, right? So I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you decided to tune in. I hope you like us enough to stay. And to my OG classmates, y'all already know how I feel about y'all. Y'all know I love y'all bad. And I'm honestly so honored and so grateful that you deemed this podcast worthy to be listened to, not one time, but like multiple times, right? Y'all listen to multiple episodes or listen to the same episode multiple times. Y'all, when y'all tell me that What School Didn't Teach Me is your favorite podcast, I know y'all be trying to gas my head up, but like, it really means a lot to me. Sometimes I don't always know how to react when I hear people say that, but genuinely, truly, it means a lot to me that y'all take the time to listen, that y'all like the topics, that y'all like me, you know what I'm saying, that we can talk about and learn about things together, that y'all teach me something new, you know. So I'm really, really grateful for all my classmates, for the new and the OGs, and I'm just so excited for the podcast to continue to grow. I'm grateful for where we are now, but I'm excited to see us expand. So enough with the mushy stuff. Y'all know we have a theme for this season. This season, we've been talking about investing in ourselves, right? We've been talking about different things we can do now that, of course, have benefits in the short term, but ultimately have benefits in the long term, right? We're going to have to put in a little more work now to reap the rewards that we'll see in the long terms, right? We've talked about investing our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with our friends. We've talked about different ways to take care of ourselves. And last month, we talked about how we can nurture our faith, our purpose, and ambition. And this month, y'all, we're talking about how we can take care of that mental health, okay? Y'all knew we weren't going to let the season end without taking the time to talk about our mental health. Y'all knew. Okay, literally in the first season, we was talking about therapy. Okay, we was coming in high. Y'all knew we wasn't gonna let the season end without talking about mental health, right? Before anything else, y'all know I am a mental health advocate, right? I'm not afraid to tell my testimony to other people and let them know, like, baby, I am a product of therapy and prayer, and therefore, I am very open and loud about making sure that I believe people need support in this whole life thing. We cannot do this life thing alone. If you try to do the life thing alone, it will mess up your mental, right? So, which leads us in today's conversation. I remember when I was in high school. So the high school that I went to was like a dual enrollment school. So we took college classes and we took high school classes, right? And at the time during high school, my mental health definitely wasn't at its best, right? And at the time, I really wasn't doing much about it, right? I just assumed this is who I am, this is who I've always been, not interested in changing me, take me how I am, or leave me where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? At the time, I really wasn't interested in what anybody had to say about encouraging words and motivational speeches and all of that, right? And so I remember one day sitting in a college class. It wasn't even my class, it was one of my friends' class. I remember sitting in a college class and the communications professor he was talking about death and religion, right? He was talking about how, like, when you die, like, he didn't believe in God. So he was talking about, like, when you die, you don't go anywhere, people make stuff up, yada yada yada, right? And somehow the conversation, like, he was talking about how, like, people believe in Jesus because they want something to believe in, right? None of this stuff I believe, right? None of this stuff I believe. But of course, and what do I look like as a teenager trying to bring a grown man to Christ? Well, I would have looked like a disciple. But at the time I was like, baby, I don't care what you're talking about. This is really of no importance of me, or of no importance to me. But he said something that sparked my interest, right? Somehow we got on the topic of, like, routines and habits. And he was like, people do what they think is best. And if they didn't think that what they were doing was best for them, they would change what they were doing. And in the context that he meant it, it was very plain and simple, right? People would take out the trash on Wednesdays if they thought it was better than taking the trash out on Thursday after the trash truck has gone by. If they thought it was better to take the trash out after the truck had gone by, they would do that. But in my brain, it was like, the decisions I make, even the decision, I make decisions because I think they're what's best for me. If I did not think they were what was best for me, I would make some different decisions. And as a young person, my little 15-year-old brain just kind of went on a little light bulb, because at the time I was also in a psychology class, right? So at the time, I'm learning about, like, the brain and how the brain works and how people make decisions based on their experiences, right? They make decisions based on they make decisions with the best information they have. Right. And so at the time, it was like a light bulb went off in my brain. Like, I didn't know the term for it at the time was self-sabotage. But it's like sometimes I push people away because I think that's what's best for me. If I didn't think that it was best to push people away, I wouldn't push people away. And I think in that moment, when I had that conversation with that professor, it gave me a lot of autonomy over my mental health. Yeah. Like, it showed me, and he did not think anything of this conversation, right? He definitely would not have thought that saying that to me would have sparked something in me. But you never know who God uses to really set you off in the right direction. You never know. God used an atheist to set me off in the right direction for my mental health. Okay. It still took years for me to grow and work on it, but still, that one moment made me realize, okay, I have some power and some control, right? Mind over matter exists for me, right? And so at the time, like I said, like, I didn't know the word for it was self-sabotage, but at the time, I was pushing people away. I was isolating when I was isolating to be by myself, especially when I was going through something, right? I did not believe that I deserved to be surrounded by nice people, good people, if I felt so bad, right? And I definitely, what I didn't want, Y'all, how I turn that off? Because that be coming on. How I turn that off? But what I definitely did not want was, what I definitely didn't want was to plague other people with my bad energy, right? If I'm sad, it doesn't mean you need to be sad. If I'm sad, it just means I need to separate myself from you so that you don't get the energy that I'm feeling, right? If I'm angry, it doesn't mean I need to talk to you about it, because I don't want to be yelling and screaming at you, right? If I'm angry, I just need to pull myself off to the side and I need to deal with it on my own, right? That was kind of my mentality, right? Because what I didn't want was to be taking things out on people, because I had done that before, right? I'm actively trying to be better. And so, um, and so at the time, I didn't realize what I was doing was harming myself instead of helping, right? I thought what I was doing was giving myself space and giving the people around me space to still like me, essentially. Like, if you really saw who I was, if you really understood how I felt, you might not understand me. You might think I'm weird. You might not even like me anymore, right? And that really, one, that was dishonest to who I am as a person. Like, you deserve to be loved even when you don't feel your best. But two, it took me having to believe that I deserved love even when I don't feel my best, to make the change, to start inviting people into my world and letting them know how I'm feeling and trusting those people to not reject me as a result, right? And so I think when it comes to mental health and people getting the help that they need and the help that they deserve, they have to believe that they deserve that help, that love, that respect, right? The only way we can get to be the people we want to be is if we believe that we deserve what we desire, right? If I did not believe that I deserved, the kind of love where somebody bought me gifts and opened the door for me and I don't know, put their jacket over my puddles, right? Then if I didn't believe I deserved those things, then I would accept the bare minimum, right? I would accept getting the door closed behind me, or not being celebrated in certain occasions, right? If I did not believe I deserved a certain type of love, then I would not expect to receive it. And so I think when we think about our mental health, we can look at people and admire people for where they are in their journey, right? And want to get there. But first things first, we have to be willing to look for more. We have to be okay with wanting more, with realizing that we deserve the respect, the love, the compassion, the consideration, the grace that we desire, right? Because the truth of the matter is, sometimes we are afraid to ask for more, right? Like, I know even for me, if there are things that I want that I personally feel like I deserve, it can still be hard to ask people to, make those accommodations for you, or to be setting certain boundaries with people so that, in fear that they might not respect them or they might not understand, right? But if you don't believe that if you don't start looking for more out of life and start believing that you deserve more, you won't even ask. You won't even open that door for yourself. You won't even give people the opportunity to accept or reject your request, right? And so I feel like I don't want to hop into the conversation without honing what I mean when I say look for more, right? And so a lot of times, and so I would like to bring up an example. So we know homelessness is a big issue in Los Angeles. Yes, Los Angeles, but a lot of big cities and in America, right? Poverty, homelessness, it's a huge issue, right? And we constantly say, like, yes, we need more affordable housing. We need government assistance. We need all of these things to help these people get off the streets. But what if you get all these things and build all these buildings And you still have homelessness on the streets, right? You're trying to fill up these rooms, but you can't, and you're wondering why, because there's still homeless people on the streets. And I remember I was watching an episode of, I think it was, I can't remember what show I was watching, but it was about a homeless person who was, oh, I was watching, I want to say I was watching Matlock or something. I can't remember, but the episode was about a man who was homeless, and he would never go in the homeless shelter. Never. He would never go in this homeless shelter. Even when they were giving out free food, even when they were having events, even when they opened the doors for him, he never went inside, right? They could come out and bring him food, but he wouldn't go inside, right? And so it became a question of like, why? Why won't you go inside? Like, this is free housing. This is warm environment, blankets to sleep on, beds to sleep in, food every day. Like, why wouldn't you want that? And at the end of the episode, he was like, I was a bad person. I'm homeless because I was bad. I'm homeless because I gambled all my money away, and I had daughters, and I gambled their money, and they don't want to speak to me, and I'm a bad person. So I don't deserve home. I don't deserve a place to sleep. I don't deserve food to eat. I deserve to be miserable, right? And again, for me, another light bulb moment. Like, sometimes, like, the man was homeless because he thought that was best for him. He felt like he did not deserve better. He felt like if he got better, he was going to mishandle it, right? And I think we do the same thing with our mental. We are sad because we feel like we deserve to be sad. We are angry because we feel like we deserve to be angry. We sulk in bed because we feel like that's what we deserve. We hold on to we hold on to shame and guilt because we don't think we deserve forgiveness, right? And the truth is, you are not going to come out of this life without scars. You are not going to be all perfect in this life. That does not mean you deserve to hold on to shame. That does not mean you deserve to hold on to guilt. That does not mean you don't deserve more, right? That doesn't mean you don't deserve to have good days, good months, good years, a good life, right? Just because you feel like you did one thing wrong. We do that. We do one wrong thing and we think about that thing for the next 5 years. We don't deserve to do that. We really should let that go. I don't know why we do it. I don't know why we hold on to so much shame and guilt and things. But we deserve to let that go and be free, right? Like, you have to know that you deserve forgiveness and grace and happiness and compassion so that you can do better. And that it's okay for you to want better, to want more. And yes, you might be afraid that people will look at you differently. Yes, you might be afraid to be rejected by people. Yes, you might feel like, okay, can I walk in this new thing and sustain it, right? Can I walk into this new mindset and keep it up? And the truth is, you might relapse. You might have a bad day and it spirals into bad thoughts, but you have more power than you realize. And you can stop those thoughts from spiraling. We talked about that at the beginning of the season. You can stop those thoughts from spiraling. You can stop those thoughts from spiraling. You have it. You have mind over matter. You are so much stronger than you think you are, right? There's so much more power in you than you realize, and you deserve more in this life. And so I want us to start being conscious about the things that we accept from other people as well as ourselves, and really be thinking, do I deserve this? Does this resemble the kind of person that I want to be? Because the truth is, sometimes we self-sabotage things because we don't want to mishandle it, right? Going back to our example with our homeless man. Sometimes we self-sabotage good friendships, right? We start picking fun at them and creating jealousy and overthinking, right? Because we don't want to mishandle a person. We look for ways to get out of a good thing because we don't want to mishandle it. And we end up mishandling it anyway because we self-sabotage, right? And sometimes we don't want to go through the trial and error of, okay, I want to do better. I'm working towards being better, but sometimes I fall. Right? I want to have a good mindset, but sometimes I still think bad things about myself. Okay, I want to stop blowing up on people and be a good communicator, but last week I yelled at my friend and it made me feel really, really bad. Like, sometimes, like, that trial and error is a lot of work. Becoming the person you want to be requires work. But it also requires work to stay the person you are right now. Especially if you are outgrowing some of that person's habits. We talked about leaving things you outgrow, right? And so we have to admit, like, yes, sometimes the trial and error of things and of life is not easy. It's not. It's not easy, and sometimes it's not fun, and sometimes you have to go back and apologize, and you got to put down your pride, and you've got to persevere and fall off the horse and get back on again, right? But if you're serious about the person you want to become, it's work you have to do. You're not going to want to do it every day, but it's work you have to do. And you deserve to be looking for more out of life. You deserve to enjoy life. Okay, I had to get my Bible because not only is it important for you to enjoy life because we're going to live this life, like, you feel me? The days go by fast. 2024 went by fast. So the years go by fast, but essentially you're going to live a long time. And you might as well live a life that you enjoy. Not only for yourself, but because God wants you to live a good life. It's true. Hold on, because I found scripture for it. Y'all, I was watching, it's been a minute since I've watched a Tim Ross episode, like, you know, his podcast With the Basement, and I was watching not his podcast, but I was watching The Preacher's Cut, his friend Preston's podcast, and that podcast was so good, but it had been a minute since I had seen Tim. So I'm watching the podcast and they're talking, and in the middle of them talking, he pulls out his Bible, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I miss this. I miss watching the man pull out his Bible. But okay. First Timothy chapter 6, verse 17. Command those who are rich in this present world to not be arrogant, nor to put their hopes in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Okay? Let me read it again. Put your hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. God does not want us to live a really crappy life. God does not want you to live a life where you're sulking every day. God doesn't want you to live a life where you're waking up in the morning thinking that you're a terrible person. You don't deserve that. And if anybody has ever told you that you deserve to feel bad about yourself, I was about to say something mean. They were wrong. To put it kindly, they're wrong. You don't deserve it. You deserve to live a good life. A life where you're grateful to wake up every morning, right? Me personally, I didn't always think that. I used to think I deserved to feel sad because, you know, I didn't wash the dishes when my mom asked me to, or because my room is always a mess. I deserve to live in a messy room, and I deserve to, you know, I deserve to get bad grades because I'm too tired to finish my homework sometimes because I'm really sad all the time and I have no energy. No, I didn't deserve any of that. And you don't deserve any of that. If any of those thoughts are your thoughts, let me tell you right now, you deserve so much better. You deserve so much more. And it's time for you to, I can tell you all day, but it's time for you to start believing yourself so that you can start being the person you really want to be. So that you can start really reaching some goals, so that you can just live a better life. Not everything is about goals and purpose and being famous and being like this grand person. Like, some things are as simple as you deserve to live a good life. Some things are as simple as you deserve to wake up in the morning and feel light in the chest. You deserve to wake up in the morning and not feel the 10,000 things on your to-do list and feel bogged down in the morning. Like, you deserve that, right? So please, like, don't let your past, don't let self-esteem issues, don't let your pride or your ego, because sometimes our pride and our ego can get in the way too, right? We don't want to apologize to people even though that guilt is killing us inside. Like, don't let fleshly, egotistical things get in the way of you getting delivered from a bad mindset, right? Go to therapy, shed old skin, shed old habits, shed old people. Like, do the things you know you can do. Get the things that you know you deserve out of life. And I can't wait to see you grow. That's it. I just wanted to give you that major reminder that, like, it's okay for you to look for more out of life. Period. That's it. For yourself, for your future self, for God's glory. Like, you deserve it. You deserve it. So I love y'all. And I'll see y'all next week.